Yo, what is up, my friends? Welcome back into the podcast. Yet another episode of Crushing Fantasy Football. I am Bryce Lockridge, your host of the show. Guys, today I'm going to be giving you my Week 7 streaming options for the quarterback, running back, and wide receiver position. I feel this video is very important to do this week because there's just so many injuries in fantasy football right now, more so than I've seen in a very long time. And there's also a lot of fantasy-relevant players that are on bye this week. So odds are you have a lot of your starters out, or you at least have some of your starters out, as most teams do. If you don't, you're very fortunate, but if you do, I'm going to help you navigate through this mess of a Week 7 and get your best lineup on the field so you can get that W this week. All right, guys, I'm going to get right into it, but if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button below. If you do enjoy my content today, make sure to give me a thumbs up, as likes help my channel tremendously. All right, guys, I'm going to start at the quarterback position, and at the very top of my list, I've got Matt Ryan. He is definitely the best streaming option this week, by a long shot, against the Miami Dolphins. Don't be intimidated by the fact that the Miami Dolphins have a few good cornerbacks, but they're not going to be able to stop this Falcons offense that's really finding their stride. We've seen the emergence of Cordell Patterson in the offense. He's getting targeted heavily out of the backfield. He had an uptick in carries in this past game. He's really helping the offense move the ball down the field. And most importantly, Calvin Ridley's going to be back this week, so Matt Ryan has his number one weapon. This is a great wide receiver one that's definitely going to help the overall efficiency of the Falcons offense, as you very well know. We've also seen Kyle Pitts start to trend in the right direction, so everything is going right for the Falcons offense. They're going in a very good direction, and I would definitely start Matt Ryan with confidence this week against the Dolphins. Next on my list is going to be Teddy Bridgewater against the Cleveland Browns. Guys, the Cleveland Browns are giving up the third most fantasy points to wide receivers out of any team in the NFL this year. The pass defense is absolutely horrendous. And Teddy Bridgewater is, he's a solid quarterback. He's got two really good weapons in Courtland Sutton and Noah Fant. Noah Fant is one of the best pass-catching tight ends in the entire NFL, and Courtland Sutton is a true wide receiver one. So look for the Denver Broncos to pass all over this terrible Browns pass defense. And look, Teddy Bridgewater is going to be a great fill-in this week for your quarterback position. Next on my list is going to be Sam Darnold against the New York Giants. The New York Giants are absolutely terrible, probably the worst team in football right now, especially with all the injuries they have. Obviously, most of their injuries are on the offensive side of the ball, but their defense is not going to have an answer for Sam Darnold and DJ Moore. This is definitely a pass-first team when they have no Christian McCaffrey, and we've seen Sam Darnold pass for over 300 yards in 3 different games this year. He's definitely looking like he's playing by far the best football of his life. So look for him to light up the Giants this week. Start him with confidence. You could definitely stream him and replace your normal starting quarterback. Last quarterback on my list is going to be Joe Burrow against the Baltimore Ravens. Guys, don't be intimidated by the Ravens defense. I understand they looked really good last week, but they're not going to play that well every week. And this Bengals offense is for real, guys. I mean, we've seen Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow and the connection that they have. The fact that, Joe Mixon is actually playing this year helps tremendously. Their offensive line has improved, and they've just got so many offensive weapons. Look for T. Higgins to come back strong from his injury. He didn't have a huge week last week, but he's going to get better every single week, guys. This is a great wide receiver. So you can trust this team to move the ball up and down the field, even against a good defense. So start Joe Burrow this week with confidence at your quarterback position. Moving on to my running backs, my number one running back stream is going to be D'Ernest Johnson. Guys, with Baker Mayfield out, this is still going to be a run-first team. Even though Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb aren't in the lineup, they're still going to trust their run game because this is how the Browns run their offense. And he's still running behind a great offensive line. Obviously, he's nowhere near Kareem Hunt or Nick Chubb in talent, so that's a little bit of a disappointment. But he's by far the best running back stream this week due to the fact that he's going to get a ton of volume and he's running behind one of the best offensive lines in football. So definitely stream him with confidence. Next on my list is going to be Alex Collins. Okay, I get it. Alex Collins is playing up against a very tough New Orleans Saints defense. But look, when there's no Russell Wilson in the lineup, this is going to be a run-first team. They don't really trust Geno Smith to pass the ball nearly as often as Russell Wilson. So it's going to be a run-first team. Chris Carson's on the IR, so Alex Collins is going to be handling pretty much all the work out of the backfield. Look for him to have another monster week against the New Orleans Saints. Next streaming option is going to be Chase Edmonds against the Houston Texans. Guys, Chase Edmonds has had a down performance this past week, but coming back from injury, he wasn't really at 100%, I don't think, and so he wasn't really set to handle his full workload to begin with. He should be a lot better shape as far as his injury this week, and they're playing against the Houston Texans, who have one of the worst run defenses in the entire NFL. He should be able to run the ball all over them, and he's still going to get heavy work as far as catching passes out of the backfield. So look for him to have a monster week this week. Next streaming option is going to be A.J. Dillon. Guys, we've seen A.J. Dillon definitely start to get a lot more work in this Green Bay Packers offense. I don't know how Aaron Jones owners feel about this, but this gives him a better chance every week to get in the end zone. And, he's seeing 10-plus carries in most games, so that's a very good sign. This guy is a very good streaming offense, very good streaming option this week against what's been a really bad Washington football team defense. So start A.J. Dillon this week with confidence. My last streaming option is going to be Sony Michel against the Detroit Lions. Guys, going into the year, I definitely thought this was going to be a split backfield, so that's a little bit disappointing because I thought Sony Michel was going to be getting more carries. However, it's clearly Darrell Henderson's backfield. But with that being the case, Sony Michel still getting 20 to 25% of the carries, and they're playing against what is absolutely the worst run defense in football by a long shot in the Detroit Lions. So expect him to make the most out of the carries that he does get and carry the ball for 5 yards per carry or more in this game. Plays in a high-scoring offense, so he always has at least a chance to get in the end zone. So he is not the best streaming option for the week, but he makes my list because it's just such a rough running back landscape in Week 7. So you can stream Sony Michel and replace who you would normally be playing if they weren't on bye or injured. Moving on to my wide receiver position, I've got DeVante Parker at the top of my list against the Falcons. Falcons do not have a good pass defense, guys. Tua Tagovailoa is back. DeVante Parker is a very talented wide receiver, guys. Don't think that Jalen Waddle is just going to take the reign and just be the only receiver on this team that gets fed the ball. DeVante Parker is a candidate every single week for 8-plus targets. He's a type of receiver that can give you a big fantasy performance, and I wouldn't be surprised if he found the end zone against the Falcons. This is going to be a very high-scoring, back-and-forth shootout-style game because both teams have really good offenses and a terrible defense. So, look, you can expect DeVante Parker to be a really good fill-in option at your wide receiver position. Next on my list is going to be Sterling Shepard. Guys, the Giants are injured at almost every skill position. They obviously don't have Saquon Barkley, and all their wide receivers are injured. Darius Slayton's still not back. Kadarius Toney got hurt. Galladay's out. Everybody's out for the Giants, guys. I mean, Sterling Shepard is going to be the number one receiving option. He will definitely have double-digit targets in this game. I can almost guarantee it. It's a tough Carolina defense, but the Carolina defense isn't as good as people make them out to be. They had a soft schedule to start the year, so I think we're starting to see the Carolina defense come back down to earth a little bit. Obviously, the Giants are not going to be good at moving the ball since they're all banged up. But, look, they're going to have to pass the ball to somebody, and Sterling Shepard is going to be the number one target. So due to volume alone, this guy's a good play this week. Next on my list is going to be Jarvis Landry against the Denver Broncos. Guys, Jarvis Landry is finally coming back off his injury, and this is not a player that gets injured very often. So it was interesting to see him actually miss some time. That's not something that Jarvis Landry's done in his NFL career. He's always been available. However, he is back, and going up against the Broncos, I don't think they're going to I think that Jarvis Landry is going to have a pretty good game just because the Browns are going to have to pass the ball at some point, right? They can't run Dearness Johnson on every single play. They don't have a badass running back duo in the backfield like they normally do in Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. So they're going to have to air the ball out a little bit. Even though Baker isn't playing, I look for Jarvis Landry to get 8-plus targets in this game. And so due to volume, he will be a very good fill-in replacement wide receiver. Not to mention, he's probably the most talented wide receiver at my streamers, as far as my wide receiver streamers. So due to talent and volume, you could definitely play him in this game and look to get some production. Last receiver on my list is going to be Jacoby Myers. Jacoby Myers has had a pretty healthy target share this year. The Patriots do spread the ball around, but going up against the Giants, I think they're going to be able to move the ball at will. And Jacoby Myers is definitely one of the biggest targets in the offense. So due to volume and the fact that he's starting to really eat out of the slot, you can start Jacoby Myers with confidence this week, and he's a good streaming option. All right, guys, those are my streaming options for the week. I hope this video helped. I know that some of these players might have already been scooped up off the waiver wire, but I'm hoping that you have some of these guys on your bench and that you can plug them into your lineup. And if they're still on the waiver wire, make sure to go grab them right now. If you're in a desperate situation where you absolutely need a win, don't be afraid to trade somebody for one of these guys because they're not – a lot of these guys that I gave you aren't just streamers for Week 7. They're guys that could actually be pretty good going forward. So getting them on your team would not be a bad idea. All right, guys. I am going to catch you guys later. I do appreciate you tuning into the video today. Good luck in Week 7 and get that W.